Yo, Adrian, I did it! What if I told you Rocky wasn't just an underdog boxing movie? It was a desperate gamble, a near collapse, a film stitched together by risk, bruises, and stubborn belief. What audiences didn't know is that the production erupted with budget panic, casting standoffs, physical danger, and studio pressure that almost shattered the project. Scenes were rewritten overnight, locations were stolen, and the lead actor fought harder off camera than in the ring. Today, we're revealing 20 hidden details you completely missed about Rocky and one bonus fact that quietly changes how this film should be remembered. Stick around because the final reveal rewrites the legacy. Let's step into the ring. The script is written in a blur of obsession. Rocky doesn't begin with a studio pitch. It begins with Sylvester Stallone watching a late-night boxing match and feeling something snap into focus. He writes the script in just a few days, driven by urgency, not polish. Pages come fast. Scenes spill out rough and raw. It isn't refined, it's emotional. What audiences didn't know is that Stallone isn't writing for money. He's writing to survive. The script becomes a declaration of identity. Not a pitch, but a demand. Studios circle immediately. They love the story. They don't love the writer starring in it. It is an opportunity, it's confrontation, and that tension shapes everything that follows. The studio wants the story, not the man. When studios read Rocky, they see a hit, but they don't see Stallone as the face of it. Executives push for established names, bigger stars, safer bets. What audiences didn't know is that Stallone refuses every offer that removes him from the lead. Even as money is waved in front of him, he holds firm. It isn't stubbornness, it's conviction. He understands the character because he is the character. The standoff grows uncomfortable. Negotiations drag. Eventually, the studio folds but tightens the budget as punishment. The film survives, but barely. Victory comes with conditions. A shoestring budget shapes the film's soul. With limited funding, Rocky can't afford luxury. It can't afford excess. Instead, it embraces restraint. What audiences didn't know is that many locations are filmed guerrilla style. Real streets, real markets, real pedestrians who have no idea a movie is being made. The camera adapts. The crew stays lean. Mistakes are kept. It isn't sloppy filmmaking, it's survival filmmaking. The raw texture becomes part of the film's identity. Not glossy, not polished, but honest. The budget doesn't limit the movie, it defines it. Philadelphia isn't a set, it's a living character. The city of Philadelphia isn't dressed up, it's shown as is. Cold, gray, worn. What audiences didn't know is that many locals don't realize they're appearing on screen. The production blends into daily life. The streets look tired because they are tired. This isn't background, it's context. The city mirrors Rocky's own struggle, overlooked, underestimated, grinding forward anyway. It isn't scenery, it's identity. And that authenticity can't be recreated on a soundstage. The ice rink scene is a financial Hail Mary. The quiet skating scene isn't a romantic flourish, it's a budget workaround. What audiences didn't know is that the production can't afford a full crowd or elaborate setup, so the rink is nearly empty. The emptiness becomes intimacy, not spectacle but connection. It's one of the film's most tender moments, born directly from limitation. The lack of resources forces creativity, and creativity delivers something money never could. Adrian is written against Hollywood norms. Talia Shire doesn't play a glamorous love interest. She plays someone quiet, guarded, awkward. What audiences didn't know is that this is intentional resistance to studio expectations. Adrian isn't there to inspire through charm, she inspires through understanding. It isn't fantasy romance, it's emotional recognition. Her presence grounds Rocky, not as motivation but as refuge. That choice deepens the film's emotional core. The trainer is based on real boxing grit. Burgess Meredith brings gravity to the role of Mickey. What audiences didn't know is that the character draws from real trainers. Stallone studied men shaped by disappointment and stubborn hope. Mickey isn't kind, he's weathered. Not a mentor from legend, but from experience. The tension between Rocky and Mickey feels real because it is built on truth. Respect comes late, trust comes later. That delayed bond gives the film its weight. Apollo Creed represents more than an opponent. Carl Weathers plays Apollo Creed with confidence and control. What audiences didn't know is that Apollo isn't written as a villain. He's written as a symbol of marketing, of spectacle, of certainty. Not cruel, but secure. That contrast matters. Rocky fights doubt. Apollo fights expectation. The bout becomes philosophical, not personal. And that's why it resonates. The fights are shot to feel uncomfortable. The boxing scenes aren't clean. They're chaotic, close, claustrophobic. What audiences didn't know is that the camera often stays uncomfortably near the action to emphasize exhaustion over elegance. This isn't choreography, it's attrition. Every hit feels heavy. The audience isn't meant to cheer, they're meant to endure. It's not about winning, it's about lasting. That choice changes the entire experience. The training montage is a gamble that pays off. The now iconic training sequence almost doesn't work on paper. What audiences didn't know is that the montage compresses time because the production can't afford extended training scenes. Music does the heavy lifting, editing finds rhythm, and suddenly momentum explodes. This is where the film finds lift. Go ahead and like and subscribe because what happens next reveals how Rocky quietly reshaped movie language forever. The montage becomes a blueprint copied for decades. The steps are an accident of geography. The famous run up the museum steps isn't planned as legend. What audiences didn't know is that the location is chosen for convenience, not symbolism. But when Stallone reaches the top and raises his arms, something clicks. It isn't victory, it's arrival. The moment becomes iconic because it's earned. No effects, no trickery, just breath and effort. And history. The final fight isn't about the scorecards. From the opening bell, the last bout feels different. What audiences didn't know is that the script focuses less on winning and more on going the distance. Rocky's goal isn't triumph, it's validation. Not glory, but dignity. That reframing subverts sports storytelling norms. The audience expects a win. The film offers something braver. Self-worth. The ending is intentionally messy. The final moments are loud, overlapping, unclear. What audiences didn't know is that the chaos is deliberate. Victory isn't clean. Emotions collide. Announcements blur. Rocky doesn't even hear the result because it doesn't matter. The story ends not with applause, but with connection. It's a refusal to simplify success, and that restraint elevates everything. The director keeps the camera imperfect. John G. Avildsen favors handheld movement and imperfect framing. What audiences didn't know is that this choice defies studio polish standards at the time. The film breathes, it wobbles, it reacts. That immediacy pulls viewers inside the moment. Not observers, but participants. It's a risky aesthetic that pays off emotionally, and it influences a generation of filmmakers. The film is almost released quietly. Before release, expectations remain modest. Inside the studio, Rocky isn't treated like a major event. It's positioned as a small drama, not a blockbuster. No massive rollout, no overwhelming publicity push, just a careful release and restrained confidence. What audiences didn't know is how little certainty surrounded its debut. Early screenings don't trigger fireworks. Executives hope it performs decently and moves on. Then something unexpected happens. Word spreads, lines form, repeat viewings multiply. Viewers talk to each other, not critics, not marketing campaigns. They respond to sincerity instead of spectacle. Momentum builds the old-fashioned way, quietly, authentically. The underdog story doesn't just play on screen, it repeats in real life. Awards recognition shocks the industry. When award season arrives, disbelief follows. Few insiders expect Rocky to dominate the conversation. It's still seen as a modest film with limited polish. What audiences didn't know is how dramatically perceptions change once nominations appear. Suddenly, the same project once treated cautiously is being re-examined as something meaningful. The film earns major recognition, including top honors at the Academy Awards. This isn't just a victory for one movie, it's a signal. Small stories matter. Personal visions matter. Films built on character, restraint, and emotional honesty deserve space at the highest level. The industry doesn't change overnight, but something cracks open, quietly, permanently. Stallone's career changes overnight. After release, Stallone's life transforms with startling speed. What audiences didn't know is how sudden the shift feels from the inside. One moment he's struggling for recognition. The next, his face is everywhere. Interviews, headlines, invitations, expectations. The transition isn't gradual, it's immediate. He goes from rejected actor to cultural symbol almost overnight. But the triumph carries weight. The role becomes inseparable from his identity. Every future decision is measured against Rocky's shadow. It isn't pure celebration, it's pressure, responsibility, visibility. The success opens doors, but it also defines him. A blessing, undeniably, and a burden that never fully leaves. The film inspires real-world motivation. Rocky doesn't stay confined to theaters, it escapes the screen. What audiences didn't know is how deeply it embeds itself into everyday life. Athletes reference it, workers quote it, teachers use it, coaches repeat it. The film becomes cultural shorthand for perseverance. Not because of boxing, but because of resilience. Rocky's journey speaks to effort, not outcome, to showing up, not dominating. That distinction matters. The story travels far beyond cinema and finds a home in real routines and personal challenges. People don't just watch Rocky, they internalize it. Decades later, its language of endurance still circulates, quietly, reliably, enduring. Sequels change, but the core remains. As sequels follow, the franchise grows louder and more polished. Bigger fights, higher stakes, sharper presentation. What audiences didn't know is that no matter how far the series expands, the original remains its emotional anchor. Every continuation echoes the same foundation identity, self-belief, endurance. The scale changes, the heart doesn't. No matter how heightened the spectacle becomes, the core stays human, vulnerable, grounded. That consistency matters. It keeps the franchise from collapsing into noise. It reminds viewers where the story began. And because that emotional center never disappears, Rocky remains relevant long after trends shift and styles fade. Rocky becomes a cultural mirror. Decades later, Rocky still resonates across generations. What audiences didn't know is why it endures so completely. The answer isn't nostalgia, it's reflection. The film mirrors struggle without mockery, effort without fantasy, hope without exaggeration. It never promises greatness. It offers something more honest self-respect. Rocky isn't about being the best. It's about being enough, about standing your ground and finishing what you start. That message doesn't age, it doesn't expire. As long as people face doubt, pressure, and limitation, Rocky remains relevant not as a sports film, but as a human one. Bonus fact, the film's greatest victory isn't the belt. The most surprising truth about Rocky is this. Its greatest achievement isn't cinematic, it's philosophical. The film reframes success not as domination, but perseverance. That idea quietly influences storytelling for generations. It changes how heroes are written and how audiences measure triumph. Rocky isn't just a movie. It's proof that belief when fought for can change everything. If this revealed something you never knew, drop a comment, subscribe, and remember the tagline that started it all. It's not about how hard you hit, it's about how far you're willing to go.